I remember what it was called. Sorry.
She said, "Oh, you're you."
Yeah, I am me.
You're that guy. Put this shit in it. You can't put her finger in the trigger. It won't do right. That's bullshit.
My birth name is Bobby SkullFace. I mispronounce it much to the family's malcontent to Bobby SkullFace for no reason.
What do you do, bro?
I review action figures and talk about nonsense. And I'm on a few podcasts, Shattercast Uncut and Nerd Rage Radio.
Nice, nice. So, you had the panel today, and I kind of want to go into that first.
Yeah.
I know we're talking on the way out, and I think you made a lot of good points.
Thanks.
That they were kind of etching around. So
that's not really what I do. Is you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm not good at inching around.
Yeah.
Like I feel like there's so many people that have compared human beings to pieces on a chessboard.
Yeah.
You know, throughout history, like the greatest war strategists or whatever are great chess players as well. And I am a rook. I always move in a straight line. Like, and sometimes it's backward, and sometimes it's forward, sometimes it's sideways, but it's always straight. Like, so I'm very direct. And sometimes that upsets people, and it's not my intention to make them personally upset with me, but I just feel like it's easier. So if I die today, tomorrow, everyone knows where they stood with me. That's a pretty powerful thing.
Yeah.
Nobody has to worry about, like, if I was a fucking sneaky guy or anything, you know, because it's not really...
Despite the mask.
Despite the mask. Exactly. That's my real face. Underneath is a disguise.
For justice. So, like, if you could say, take this time to say anything that you wanted to say on the panel, but didn't want to start a fight or didn't have a lot of time, what would that be?
I think I got
that would allow me to still be able to upload this.
right. Well, I think that honestly, I got to say what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wanted to say two things. Like when like, and look, I'll give you the exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
So you got the exclusive.
Sweet.
All right, are you ready?
Exclusive.
Because this is kind of big news.
Okay.
I'm walking. I just danced to Eddie and sang Eddie Murphy's Party All the Time, which is an absolutely fantastic record if you're not familiar. So I just did that. I'm coming back inside, and Peaugh stops me. Like he's sitting down, he puts one hand up and he stops me, and he says, "Are you Bobby SkullFace?" And I wanted to say no. I got a SkullFace shirt on. I got this, you know what I mean. I wanted to say no just because it was been funny.
Yeah.
Like no, just a fan, but. I was like, yeah, and he was like, because I respect the dude, and he was like, look, I don't have any beef with you. And I was like, I know. Like, you know what I mean? It's ridiculous. It's nonsense. Like, you think, like, I was going to see Peaugh and body slam him at McDonald's or something? Like, that's not what we... You know, like, I don't have any... Like, it's nonsense.
Now, what leads up to him saying that?
It's funny you asked that because he said, like, I was like, why would you think that?
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, well, people comment on my videos, like, I don't fuck with you. I only fuck with Bobby SkullFace. and I was like, well, look, I never, like you, and no one has ever seen a video of mine where I'm like, tell Peaugh, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's not really my thing. So I was like, no, dude. And I was like, as a matter of fact, like, I don't watch many Transformer reviews because I buy a lot of Transformers and I don't want their opinion to taint my views. You know, like, I don't want to see their view and be like, yeah, that is kind of true, and then it spins off into my review. I want my review to be my review. Sometimes I'll go back and watch other people's reviews after I've reviewed it, but I don't want your review to be my review. So the only time I watch other Transformer reviews is of toys I know I'm not going to get. So in Toronto, I had the fortunate experience to put my hands on the bad cube bugs. And I was like, not for me. It just wasn't for me. I'm not the biggest bad cube fan in the world. I think they're fine, but I'm not a big like bad cube fan. And I knew that these bugs weren't for me. I watched Peaugh's review of them because I knew I wasn't going to buy them. And at the end, I told Peaugh this. I was like, dude, I sent people that link because I was like, this is the closest you're ever going to get to Peaugh telling you, do not buy this shit. Because in that video, at the end of his review, he's like, look, you can buy it if you want, but other people are coming. I might want to hold your horses. He said it in his own, you know, very. He's a nice guy. He's a, you know, like and I'm a nice guy, but I just don't speak in that language. I don't speak in roundabout language. I speak in very direct language. So, but he was basically saying like, just hold tight, look at the options, and then make your decision because something else better might be coming down the road. But he wouldn't have said that if they were perfect, you know. So he was like, cool. He was like, hey, look, there's a panel coming Sunday, and I want you to be a part of it. And I was like, that would be awesome, man. I was like, I'll do it on one condition. I'm going to do a TFCon wrap-up video. And because like he's always the man like with the camera and you see his fingers. I was like, I want it to be you and me. I want to have a thumb wrestle.
That was cool.
You know? So he was like, yeah, I'm up for that. So then we thumb wrestled. You know, and like and so he was cool, I was cool. It was fine. And the two things I wanted to get across within that panel was one, there's a difference between reviewers and showcasers. And two, if you're reviewing a test shot, talk to the company, not to the people. Make it a conversation with you and X-Transbots, or you and MMC, or you and whoever, and you're letting the people in on that conversation.
And did you see how, like, when you brought that point up, Peaugh on one side and John on the other side, they kind of got defensive. Peaugh got really. Have you watched the footage yet?
I haven't had a chance.
He got really uncomfortable.
well, it's hard for me to say, because see, the thing is, like I can't see well with this show, right? So like, and the thing is like, you know, Peaugh didn't have to let me up there.
Nah.
You know, so like I tip my hat to the guy. You know, so I couldn't really feel his response. I think that when there was a point where I was talking about showcasers, where I felt like he got defensive.
He did.
You know, where he was like, look, you know, but then I had to reconcile and be like, look, there was another individual or two that I had in mind with this. This isn't,
because there are so many.
Exactly.
There are so many.
And you know what's funny is that there's nothing wrong with the showcaser.
But they take
as long as you say you're showcasing.
They take a lot of heat though. And
exactly, because they say they're reviewing.
Yeah.
They don't say they're showcasing. And when you review a toy, you're supposed to critique it. And if you critique something, you give the good, you give the bad. And if you don't give the bad, you're just showcasing. And that's fine.
You're either showcasing or you're misleading.
That's.
And I'll say it. You don't have to say it.
That's a viable thing. I've seen it like I've seen it in other reviewers. Like and I don't want to make like I'm not out here to make enemies. You know what I mean? So I don't want to say anything that would hurt somebody's feelings. But there's somebody that I have a bit of a personal relationship with, a bit of a personal rapport with. It's a bit of a hotshot reviewer. And I've told him personally, dude, just say you're showcasing this toy because you love this extremely well-made toy as much as you seemingly love this extremely poor-made toy. So if you just like new toys and you just get excited by new toys, just say, I'm the new toy excited guy. Be that guy. Make that your angle. But don't tell me you're reviewing it when you're not. You know, because you have to give the good and the bad. I like, sometimes it hurts my feelings to talk bad about things that I love. Like, I love fans toys. I believe in fans toys. Like, I want to rally behind them. And they got, you know, they got the FTS, is what I call it, the fans toy squeak. So I got to talk about it. Because my allegiance isn't to fans toys. They haven't bought me one figure. They haven't sent me nothing. They haven't, like, sometimes they return an email, sometimes they don't. My allegiance is to the people. They always constantly send me emails, attaboys, whatever. So that's the people I had to take care of.
And rightfully so. Rightfully so. So I wonder if a lot, like you made the point that in his bug video, he basically said in his own words, and this is not to continually dump on Peaugh, right? So I don't want anybody to think that I'm dumping on Peaugh, because if I'm dumping, I would literally dump, right? But I wonder if that's in his, because of all the heat he's been taking, and he has been taking some heat, if that's his way of trying to, you know, put that edge.
Maybe, but you know, he's not really like, if you, I mean, you shook the dude's hand.
Yeah,
like, he's not an edgy dude.
No, he's not an edgy guy.
He's not like,
Nah.
like I'm no whatever, but like I've been in some tough spots throughout my life, and this is not an A&E biography, but like I've been in some tough spots, and I've seen people, and seen in their eyes, and I can see I'm a really good judge of character, and I'm a really good judge of situations. Like, I can read a scenario, I can read a person. It's just something that I'm like, everybody has certain abilities,
Roger. Like
certain strengths, and like, you know, like when I look in his eyes, like there's not a bit of malice in there. You know, there's like he's not a rah-rah type of guy. You know, he's just a nice.
And I don't think Peaugh's going to bring the rah-rah.
Exactly. That's not what he's looking for. So like, and that's cool.
Yeah.
And like, I had to tip my hat to him, because like Peaugh's got 100,000 something. You know, whatever. Like, he's getting toys hooked up. Like I gotta tell you, like, I got 3,000 some subscribers. You know, like, I got nothing. I'm just like, I think the reason why I get a strong response from people is because I have a strong opinion. So people respond to that really strong positively or really strong negatively. Yeah. And I've just been fortunate that most of the response has been positive. But like, you know, it's not like for him to do that for me, like John 3.0, he's like a big deal or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, apparently, like he's like, you know, he does like honest trailers or whatever. That's like a big deal. Like,
if you're not sure, he'll definitely let you know that.
That may be true as well. But
John's a friend, though. So
but he's a big deal, right? So like, you know,
he's
he's name dropping Paramount and all this shit. Like, I'm name dropping Burger King. Like, I'm a small chain. So like, you know, like so, you know, if you were to say like, look, Peaugh 100,000 subscribers, John 3.0, whatever the fuck amount of subscribers, SkullFace 3,000 subscribers, which one doesn't belong? It's gonna be me.
Yeah, but consider this. Now, I put everything in hip hop terms. I grew up on hip hop. I'm a hip hop head. Right? You are a hip hop head.
I love 83 to 96.
And that's where about it goes. That's where about it goes. There's something to be said. I think you would agree with me. There's something to be said about being the Nas in the room with the Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you know, I hear you. But I'm not sure. If the metaphor that you're coming at is that, like, so like, okay, so I don't think I'm the Nas. I don't like. I think that I'm a very inclusive person. Like, we did a video and all that stuff last night, and I was just like, look, are you want to be in? Be in. Like, it's all nonsense. It doesn't matter. Like, no one person is more important than anybody else. Like, why would you think I would not want you to be involved?
My point is that you take, like, in going to the Nas analogy, right? You take Nas, you take Jay-Z, and you know your hip hop, you know your music.
I do.
So you had a lot of guys around Nas who were, I guess you could say they were larger artists, like in the mainstream, right? And they had the large numbers, but the following that Nas had was the following. He had the people. As far as hip hop goes, he had the people. And you would be hard pressed to find someone that would say, "Oh, Nas is not nice. Nas is not good." You would be hard pressed to find that. You might not have everyone say Nas is selling 1 billion albums in the way that Jay-Z.
Oh, I see.
You think what I'm saying?
I see.
You think what I'm saying? And so on that stage, this is my analogy. On that stage, and even within the reviewer league, whatever you want to call it, I don't know, realm.
Then I think within that regard, if that's the comparison you're making, where Jay-Z was selling billions of records and Nas was selling, let's say, not billions of records.
Yeah, but dedicated following.
But had a dedicated following. Then yes, in that regard, the analogy does work. I think that I was trying to buck that system because I'm just more of a Jay-Z fan.
Jay-Z. I like Jay-Z. I like the Kingdom Come album.
Well, I'll tell you, like, I'm not a big Blueprint guy or whatever, but Reasonable Doubt, which I know it's great or whatever, but it's not like I think Blueprint is his best album. But Reasonable Doubt, he had a line that made me fall in love with him,
Mm-hmm.
where he was talking about some rival drug person or whatever, and that rival drug person ended up dead. He was at his funeral. And he said, I'm walking past this casket feeling sarcastic, like, look at him, he's still sleeping, the poor bastard.
Yeah.
And like that, like I was like, you know, I was there and I was laughing, I do most of the content that I do is all word based. It's reviews, it's podcasts, it's such and such, like Shattercast Uncut, Nerd Rage Radio, like it's all word based. So I appreciate, you know, the cleverness and puns and double entendres and stuff that a guy like that Jay used to use in his prime. But yeah, I definitely agree that like I am a bit of an underdog, and people like to root for the underdog. You know, I think the worst thing that could happen to me would be, you know, super mega 100,000 subscribers. You know, and I don't care. I don't want. I know it doesn't matter. It's like I much rather, like I've had talks with toy dealers, you know, saying like, look, we can do this, we can do that, and I've had to say like, I appreciate it, but no thank you.
Because that brings in restrictions, right?
Not only restrictions, but it's like, it's become like my connection to the people has become more important. Like I've made a lot of friends from this shit. Like, you know, like a lot of good people, like shaking a lot of hands. I'll spend the extra $1 if I can continue with that.
Dope. That's dope. And that's dope. Talk to me about Nerd Rage. I had a chance to check it out. It's really good.
Awesome, man. So all right. So Nerd Rage. All right. So Shattercast Uncut is a Transformers podcast. It's not for everyone. It's not for the overly sensitive. It's not for the easily offended. It's not for everyone. But it is its own machine, and it takes a lot of work to keep all those gears and everything oiled and greased. It's a lot of work. It may seem like it's all just a circus, but I can tell you it's organized confusion behind the scenes. So SkullFace stuff takes a lot of work. Defending our Myths and Heroes stuff takes a lot of work. Shattercast stuff takes a lot of work. And I love all this nerd shit, but I wanted to do some nerds nonsense that was no work. So that's Nerd Rage Radio. My buddy Adam, I grew up with this guy. Like, he has brothers and sisters, right? I have brothers and sisters. But if something happens to my wife and I, he takes my kids legally. If something happens to his wife and him, I take his kids legally. Like, that's how close we are.
That's deep.
Yeah, we've been friends since '91. Best friends. You know, like people use that term very loosely, but it's really like Christmas is coming, and I have plans to spend my Christmas with his family, not with mine. And he has plans to spend his Christmas with my family, not with his. We're gonna get together, the two of us, and leave both of our families outside of it. It's just how close we are, you know. So we're both huge comic fans, nerd fans all around, Transformer fans, whatever, 80s pop culture in general. And he has a very successful podcast called Beers and Bolters. And it's about 40K, Warhammer 40K. And he has another very successful podcast that I'm not even allowed to mention because it's so successful and he doesn't want it affiliated with Beers and Bolters.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so, and both of those things of his take up a lot of time, work, energy. And both of the things of mine, DMH, Shattercast, SkullFace, all three things of mine, take up time, work, energy. And him and I don't get a chance to talk, chit-chat a whole lot like we used to. So, but when we do, it's great. You know, and we only live 5 miles down the road, but we're both has so many fingers and toes and so many pies, it's just hard to get together. So we were like, look, man, you know, we should do one. We were like, yeah, we should do one, whatever, but we weren't really serious about it. And then this other guy, shout out to Comic Book Dork. You should follow that guy on Facebook. He's awesome. He wrote us both, and he was like, you guys need to do it, or I'm going to quit listening to either one of you.
Okay.
So we started doing Nerd Rage Radio, and it's basically zero responsibility, zero work. We don't have show notes. We don't have anything. We just, we're both from Maryland, so we're part of a Maryland Nerds group. We both just get on, we talk about stuff going on within the group, and then we talk about like a show discussion that we just come up with on the site. So we've talked about like the Batgirl Joker issue cover that got taken down, and there was some real interesting social commentary going on. on
What's
that.
up with that? Batgirl, Joker.
So there's a book called The Killing Joke by
Okay.
So there's the Joker just had his like 75th anniversary or some such nonsense, and there was a cover. It was an alternate cover. That's important. It was an alternate cover, and it had Batgirl crying with Joker behind her, like holding her like this, putting a smile on her face with one finger, and like I think holding a gun with the other. And
I heard of. Okay.
people got so upset they thought it was promoting rape.
That's so gay.
So they got so upset about that because they thought that some people think that Joker raped Batgirl in The Killing Joke. To me, I've never gotten that impression. I've read The Killing Joke 1,000 times. I've always considered Joker to be a rather asexual character. I've never considered him being like a sexual predator type of character. So like I've never thought about that ever. But enough people made a scene, meaningless outrage, to have this cover shut down. So we have a long time running social commentary on it about like, look, if we can't discuss serious issues, like here's another exclusive, like just let you know, like I've seen some tough times in my life. Like my sister was raped, violently raped. It doesn't mean that I can't confront that concept. Or that even she, bless her heart, like if she's a strong gal, like that she can't confront that concept. So, I'm not foreign to dangerous concepts hitting very close to home.
Yeah.
But if we as a society can't be challenged by a dangerous idea, where if we see something ugly, we can't discuss it conceptually. You know, like that Game of Thrones episode, where people got all up in arms because it was a rape.
Pull it.
Well, look, first of all, it's fictional. Second of all, it's supposed to make you upset.
Since you're going that way, because this is something that irks me as well, right? It's like things are becoming so PC now.
Yeah, like here's the thing. I think it has to do with. We talk about this a good bit on Nerd Rage Radio. There's a website, right? It's called politicalcompass.com. It's like 100 questions. And after you finish it, they plot you somewhere on this graph. And you can see where you really are. I think a lot of people think they're more left or more right, but they don't really know. And then it shows you where you really are. I highly recommend taking the questionnaire if you have the time. But I'm slightly left of center. My buddy Adam is slightly right of center. So we're like almost, and we're almost both equidistant from center, which is interesting. But like, I think that, and I have political issues with the right as well. I don't want to make it about that, but I think that the political correctness bit really comes from the left.
It does.
And I think that there's two problems there. One is cultural relativism, which means you apply your morals only to your culture and not to others. So if you say, look, in this country, people should be able to vote regardless of sex, regardless of race, regardless of all these things, you're absolutely correct. But if you don't apply that same moral standard to the rest of the world, you're wrong. If you say, look, in other countries they don't think that way and that's okay, it's not okay. A woman is not due any less rights because she lives in a different country than you. If a woman lives in some other country and she has to be circumcised for no other reason than to have, sexual drive, that's terrible. That's horrific. It doesn't make it okay because she lives in a culture where it's deemed okay. That's cultural relativism. That's something that the left has adapted for whatever reason, and it's unacceptable in my opinion. In my most humble opinion. Now, the same thing on the same side of the argument is, throughout history, the left has had, not throughout history, but throughout the last 50 years or so, 60 years, the left has had this reputation of fighting for civil rights and fighting for equal rights and all these things that mean so much that are very important. That from the most recent, the homosexuals being able to marry, that's important. That's a matter of equality for me. I feel like anyway, they should be able to marry. If it's a government registered, legislated thing, it has to be equal for everyone. So that's how I feel about that. But that doesn't necessarily mean my views coincide with yours. Doesn't matter. It's just how I feel about it. But the left has been fighting for stuff like that for so long that now that a lot of those battles have been won, I feel like sometimes they don't know what to fight, so they just pick something to have meaningless outrage over, like a Batgirl comic. How can you rage so much war against racial, sexual orientation, and sex inequality to Batgirl?
If I can interject, because I'm a politics nut. I'm all about it. Like I don't follow sports. That politics and cartoons. That's what I do.
Right.
So I think the machine has just ramped up so much and gotten so far ahead of itself. So the machine is just on autopilot now, and any and everything that comes up, it's like a flare. It just pops, and everybody wants to go rage against it. You know what I'm saying?
It's meaningless outrage for the sake of meaningless outrage.
There you go. And we spend so. It's just that they're raging against everything, but most of the things they're raging against is meaningless because of the most important things. They just seem to fly under the radar, and I think it's purposely done. I think it's purposeful. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I don't want to take us too far from the politics, but it's a passion of mine, you know. So
yeah, no, and I can talk to you about it till you're blue in the face.
Anytime you have a conversation about it, I love to have it.
Yeah, absolutely. But I just, my thing is like,
put this out.
When it comes to art, outside of politics, let's stay outside the politics realm. When it comes to art, you should be able to express yourself however you feel. No one should be able to tell you can't express that particular feeling.
Yeah.
And whether it be the Batgirl situation or the other thing was like the Spider-Woman situation that people raised over. I think it was John Land. I'm saying John Land because I know the guy in person. John Lang or something. It's a comic artist. I forget his name at the moment because I'm buzzed.
No worries.
But he did the Spider-Girl cover where she's coming over the building. People were saying,
with the ass, right?
Yeah. So people got all upset about that. But the thing is that like. And not that I'm like standing up for this dude or whatever. Like I don't care. But first of all, it's an homage to a Spider-Man cover that nobody raged about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then secondly is that like every dude in comics has 8-pack abs, perfectly defined chest. Every muscle in their arm is perfectly defined. If that was the standard that women held, all of us would be single.
Yeah.
So like, just because, like...
I don't like cardio, so...
I don't either. So, like, just because, like, a woman is the elements of her sexuality are shown, it doesn't make her any weaker. Like, Spider-Woman's one of the most powerful, you know what I mean? Like, she's an awesome character. Like, it doesn't make her any weak. It doesn't make her, like, less of a character than somebody else. Like, you're like... so that's the kind of stuff that Nerd Rage Radio talks about. And we wanted to talk about it, and we just wanted to talk about it as friends. And I gotta tell you, like, Nerd Rage Radio is not on YouTube. It's not really our thing. We're just gonna put it on, like, audio outlets. And, like, it's on iTunes and Stitcher and all that kind of stuff. But, like, what's been nice about it is that, like, him and I are talking more.
That's cool.
And that's the beauty of it. And we're just talking about what we want to talk about. And if you want to listen... fine. If you don't, doesn't matter. And that's the difference between that and Shattercast. Shattercast, we were like, we want everyone. We are going to be and that's just it's all of our competitive spirits.
That brings me back to the panel. When you made the point of being competitive and wanting to be number one, and they kind of like shy, and I guess that's the. I don't want to insult them by calling them timid, but I'm going to insult them by calling them timid. That's the timidness of them because, I don't really think about that. Well, first of all, you're already at like 300,000 million.
Right.
Anyway, so you don't really have to compete. But I think there's something to be said about competition. There's nothing wrong with being competitive.
I think it's human nature. Like, if you want to do something, like, here's the thing.
Motherfucker! Yeah. What's up? It's right out front. If you go out front and you just push the fucking unlock button or push the lock button, you'll hear the car honk. Yeah, like go out front. God damn it.